Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the RationalInvestor.com's Daily Brief Recap.
Hello.
It is actually, we had an extra long daily brief today, about 2 hours. Back to back, sort of punches in the nose. I have a habit of talking too much. You all know that anyway. And on Wednesdays, I like to bring Kevin on the call, and he sort of does a quick review of the ideas that we kicked around in the TRI SOF meeting last night, Tuesdays. So I think the good people on the site got a big old dose of charts and ideas, and gee whiz, actually a couple ideas that we kicked around. They're just going nuts here. But what it could have, should have. My bid off the breakout level was not filled, but oh well, it's the way it goes. Um, so we have a FOMC meeting today. So really, it was kind of funny. The day traders in their room this morning, most of them had checked out about a half hour or so after the New York Open, because that's when the most volatility for futures traders is. And by time 7:30, 8 o'clock my time rolled around, they were all checking out. And they're like, Fed day, won't do anything. See you tomorrow. For the broader public, the general rule when I was a broker was don't trust the market until 1 full hour following the Fed announcement. And since that's basically happening right now, I wouldn't trust anything that you say through this video until 1 full hour from now. You might find a lot of these prices that I make reference to actually completely reverse. I've seen it happen time and time again. So anyway, point of the matter here, just big picture market, kind of not really overly happy, to be honest with you. Feels as though it's trying to get pushed up, trying to get pushed up, trying to get pushed up. We had big Dow stocks came out with earnings. They beat expectations, Microsoft, but stocks still getting whacked. Other tech stocks did come out with earnings, which just knocked the cover off the ball. Stocks are moving up, but not as much as you would expect if they had like 50% increase in their earnings. So it feels heavy. It's like people are selling into the rallies. Also, two tax deadlines. Canada, we got a deadline here at the end of the week. US, you have a deadline in a couple weeks. So the point of the matter here is probably going to see some people selling stock and selling assets to pay those tax bills. And then also two, end of April, beginning of May. How's it go? Buy when it snows, sell when it goes. Sell when in May, sell in May, walk away. Blah 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 blah. So, not a big surprise. We're kind of stuck in the mud here. Did see that oil was trying to sort of firm up a little bit, which took the wind out of the metals markets a bit. And of course, the bond market always worried about whether the Fed's actually going to step in and defend the bond market. I'd say the bond market actually is extremely vulnerable. And the only thing holding up bonds right now is just the belief that the Fed will constantly come in and keep buying bonds. If they come out and said, you know what, we're done our bond buying programs, it's over, I think these bonds would just collapse. So into Fed announcement day, they've actually cleaned the US dollar index up back into reload zones. If we actually got a buy signal coming out the other side of that, wouldn't be a bad idea to think about the long side of the US dollar. And really, that's more a function of all the other currencies are overvalued versus the US dollar, not really like, you know, the US dollar itself is so valuable that this index is nothing more than just a reflection of sort of the perceived value. If the US dollar itself relative to its other fiat currency pairs is perceived overvalued, well, it will come down. If it's perceived undervalued, well, all those other currencies will be sold off and this will move up. So that's really what this is. Stock market's kind of wavering up top here. Junior market, dead cat bounce into resistance against a trend line. Like I'm from Missouri. If we really were bullish, I'd want to see this thing at W out here to tell me that it's really a bull right now. I don't believe any of this. And this looks extremely dangerous. Remember, don't trust anything for a full first hour following this announcement. Um, Interesting to see the oil perking up here. We had kind of talked a little bit about how oil just didn't want to go down anymore and was starting to work its way higher. It looks like we got ABCDs going to take us up against the top end of the range. Canadian dollar is very strong. So that's an oil proxy. A lot of Canadian oil stocks are looking very, very strong. So unlike the US, where I think there's a lot of political pressure on the oil industry in Canada, huge portion of the economy is the oil industry. So you can't even really avoid it. And a lot of those oil names are moving up smartly. Um, so I got a funny feeling oil wants to go higher. It's just in the United States right now, oil is a very politically sensitive topic. Eh? Having said that, if oil does start to get ramping up here in earnest, that's probably one reason why the bonds aren't overly happy right here. Interesting too. I've talked to you guys about this before. If oil gets going in earnest, it's tough for the gold to get going. I was thinking about buying some big gold stocks, but they jumped up so much that I actually pulled my bids because I don't know what the hell this is going to look like on the other side of this Fed announcement here. So let's see what happens. And if oil keeps ratcheting, crypto keeps ratcheting, stocks ratchet higher, this thing W's out, then that's risk on. And you don't want to be anywhere near these kind of things and risk on. They'll get absolutely destroyed. So that's, I suppose, along this line. I mean, yes, the risk off assets have enjoyed a dead cat bounce, maybe relieve some oversold conditions here. But, are the bonds going to go and M out here and break down to new lows? Keep in mind, if we hide the gold and the yen, this bond market, that's not really, Brian, if he's really as bullish, he wants to see a really well defined W. So we had that there. Okay, that's cool. But now what are they going to do? They're going to put it in an M up here. So now, really, I would say this market is range bound. And that's kind of the same thing you see in the gold. This rally was just too far, too fast. In the bonds, it didn't even really happen that much. What we would have liked to have seen is just, nice, simple high, back up, maybe W, new high, back up, W, new high, right? Just nice, healthy bull market, kind of like this. So seeing M's here, ugh. Now, like I said, Fed day. Fed's probably made their announcement now. Kevin, maybe you can, while I'm blabbing away here, you could find out what the headline of the Fed announcement is. My hunch is no change in interest rates, no change in policy, but just for posterity, we should know what that is. And I did see in the lounge, people are already posting the Fed press conference video links. So they're already getting ready to watch Mr. Powell's wonderfulness. So there's the oil. It's gone to double bottom. Interesting how Bitcoin is just sort of still dead cat bouncing here. But in a weird sort of way, especially with the Coinbase IPO pump, I kind of funny feeling Bitcoin's kind of running out of gas here. And really, the news in crypto, I think, is now back to sort of tilted towards DeFi, tilted towards Ethereum, tilted towards that space, and really other DeFi proxies. Kevin's a big fan of Waves, and it's going nuts here. So I get the impression that the trends that we saw develop over the past 4 or 5 months, which we didn't really like, higher commodity prices, higher cryptocurrency, as in there's another asset prices, and you guys all love that, of course. But higher interest rates, like the bonds, I think they look dangerous again. Kind of a malaise in the metals because, frankly speaking, anybody who used to buy gold as an inflation hedge is buying crypto now. And interestingly enough, before the election, through the election down in the States, started to hear a lot of talk about Mr. Biden wanting to raise taxes. And through that period, we saw a lot of these acquisition companies, shell companies, offshores get bid up on the anticipation of that tax hike. Then when Mr. Biden was elected, that conversation kind of went away for the, I guess, good couple months. All those acquisition companies, SPAC things, their prices came back down to earth. And lo and behold, in our TRI SOF club meeting last night, geez, probably about 50% of the names reviewed were one form of acquisition company or another. Why? I think because Mr. Biden has made it very clear that he wants to raise taxes in the states. So corporate America is saying, fine, you raise the tax rate, we will move our capital offshore. You think they're actually going to pay these taxes? I mean, that's the irony of these silly politicians, is they don't realize that, especially if you're trying to guide like an economy of 400 million people, you come out with blank statements like we're going to raise taxes. Do you think taxpayers are just going to sit there and go, okay, I guess they're going to pay more taxes? No, they're going to do all the shit that's going to try and avoid those taxes. So it didn't surprise me one bit. Like I said, that last night, geez, probably about half of the names we talked about were one SPAC versus another type of SPAC. We're big on trading these funny little warrants. Here's a great example of one that I absolutely love. Next Gen Acquisition Corp. What the fuck is this thing? I mean, it could do anything. All I see is an outside upside key reversal off a double bottom and 50% retracements. That's going to give me a good 50, 60, 70% return on my money. That's something I'm interested in. This thing gets really going like one of these kind of crazy days, and these warrants do this all the time. This could easily double, triple, quadruple, whatever. And there's a bunch of these. Here's another one. Sustainable Opportunities Acquisition Corp. What the fuck is that? But there it is. You can see the W. It's as plain as day. The breakout level there's 125. It's 122 bid, 130 offered. Last traded 125. So it's sitting there just waiting for somebody to break this thing out. Actually, interesting too. If it does break out here, that'll actually be an upside outside key reversal off a double bottom. Holy shit, Muslim. I'd keep an eye on that one. Maybe I'll just go break it out. I'll buy 100 shares there just to piss off everybody. Let's see if I can get all the algos to go crazy here. Anyway, so that's the kind of market that we're in right now. It's going to be specialty situations, just going and blindly buying indexes, or like in crypto, just going and blindly buying Bitcoin here. Probably not the best use for your money. You want to try and find these sort of specialty technical breakouts. Here's one on Monday. Sjord actually built the algo live on the daily brief. And he even built it to screen Canadian stocks. And as we were doing the daily brief, this came up and he's like, all right, there's a buy. And son of a bitch. I mean, the worst part about this is after we did the video, I was like, all right, I'll go throw the bid in. And I guess it was like here. And the stock never did come back down. I got my bid at 1042 here, right? One tick above the breakout level. And look, yesterday's low, 1046. Today's low, 1047. These bastards. And there it goes. So obviously I've missed this trade, but I am also trying to buy some calls on the US stock. I think there's tons of money to be made here, but unfortunately the damn thing's running away from me. So no feels for you. Anyway, a good example of a specialty situation. It's not really like I'm expecting the broad indexes to spit up really cool signals, but here, for example, this is a stock that was beat up, not because the company had problems, but because some hedge fund manager got his nuts caught in the, short and curly's caught in the ringer. And they ripped the thing down, brought it right back down, ate the tail, and then lo and behold, they actually spit up a big old key reversal there. So I was leery about buying the key reversal, but they gapped the stock lower into the bottom of the range here. And I was like, screw it, man, I want to buy. So I went and picked up some of these calls. And if I understand correctly, even this trade's actually working nicely for me now. But this is a January option. So like next year, I'm thinking. And is it realistic to look for this gap to be filled in here? I think so. If I can get a rally back to the 50% rule, which is normal, this option is going to be worth $6. So that's not a bad trade. If we rally back up to here between now and the next January, this option is going to be worth $20. That's like 10x on your money. So that's the kind of, again, a specialty situation, not really macro, more just something odd happened in the market. They brought the market back down into a reload zone, started painting all of the various reasons I like to buy stock, Wyckoff checks, reload zones, key reversals, reload zone within reload zone, reload zone within reload zone, and of course, TRI's secret options formula. So that's the kind of market that I think we're in right now. It's if anything, what I would consider this is a stock pickers market. And also too, within the cryptocurrency space, I think it is a cryptocurrency pickers market. You know how to pick these, you know how to time your purchases. You should be able to make a lot of money in this environment. But if you just go blindly buy Bitcoin right here, right now, is it realistic that Bitcoin's going to give you a 10x here from 55 Gs? I don't even think Willy Woo is looking for 10x on Bitcoin from 55 Gs. 5x maybe? Okay. 10x? I don't know. And then, maybe to get that 5x, what kind of risk are you going to actually have to take here? And, the sad part about it is this is a very, very risky market. All of this is open air. And of course, nobody likes me talking like this way. And if this thing did shit the bed and just fucking crap out here, what am I going to do? Am I going to go out and go, see, I told you so? That doesn't win friends. But just understand this market has come a very, very long way. We're just sort of parked. I think I told you a while ago. I used to think sort of 45 to 55 was the trading range. I think it's 45 to 65, where 55 is the mean. And Tuesdays, yesterday, we have our professional day trader coach, Kiran, come on the daily brief, just talk a little bit about levels. And he said this is a super important level for him. So he needs to see the corn close above this level for him to actually switch from, I'm thinking, down to, okay, maybe we can think back up again. And I like that thinking because I've been sort of, we built this algorithm. I absolutely love it. I think it's going to be the next generation kind of tools, kind of thinking where, remember, like old timer stock people, public couldn't get this information. It wasn't necessarily like they didn't know how to use it. You couldn't get this information. So now we can actually calculate this sort of technical strength or weakness of various different issues and then create indexes based on the technical strength or weakness in things like measuring breadth and measuring things like bullish percentage. I had put out tweets sort of yesterday going, oh, we're at a really interesting juncture here. It's fascinating, of course, that this is the FOMC day. We always say don't trust the first hour following the Fed. This might be a trap to the downside. And then into the end of the day, an hour after the Fed announcement, the whole damn market lifts off and boom, we get a big ass buy signal. But as it stands right now, I'm still in sort of wait and see mode. It's not quite ready to flip over bullish. So again, the same sort of conversation about Bitcoin. And I think that big crypto index is following Bitcoin to a certain degree. Same thing. We're at a very interesting inflection point. If we can close back above here, well, then we can actually start thinking bullishly again, start thinking about buy signals. And then when I look at things like I just follow the crypto universe, and you tell me, what color do you see on your screen here? If anything, this is good. You want to see a down market into a Fed announcement because then it's sort of like sell the rumor and then the news event happens and it's buy the news. So let's see if we're lucky. You can see, look at even this AVX is starting to try and turn back up. Maybe over, because now we're 17 minutes into that hour. So maybe by the end of this, another 45 minutes, we'll see, look at this Ave. He's trying to turn up. Maybe we'll start to see this space actually start to firm up and not be so weak. In fact, even as we've been talking, Bitcoin was down, good few $100. It's trying to clean itself up here. And really, I think I said this before, stock pickers market, coin pickers market. I got a funny feeling Bitcoin's actually old here. That's the old story. The current story is DeFi and Ethereum. And you could see even just recently, I was thinking, well, maybe we just consolidate into that US tax deadline. And then Ethereum comes out with the news, and I even tweeted it out because I was so damn impressed that boom, European investment banks issuing 2-year digital bonds on Ethereum through Goldman. Ah, here they come. So I get the distinct impression that this is your acceptance, adoption. It's happening in real time, folks. So we'll see how this goes. Now, I'm just curious as to whether and really, you know what the conversation this is this is about this conversation. Who's driving the bus here? Is it classic crypto, shitcoins, right? And you could also look at things like dominance, same sort of conversation. I mean, this is our, Colin, he likes to call this their risk on environment, right? Risk on, risk on, risk on. And I might argue to a certain degree, DeFi perp divided by shitcoin perp, this is shitcoins and crypto doing well. And this is DeFi saying, well, enough is enough. Now it's our turn. And that's, it's a triple bottom. So, I mean, that's pretty valid. And of course, if we scroll down the screen, notice, hey, there's a heck of a lot more green going on in this DeFi space. Still a bit of red, but getting more green. That was interesting. Just on a side note, I traded this Aave just for fun, kind of an experiment on I guess it wasn't on Trex, it was on Binance, and it was versus USDT, and I got stopped out on a bot setup on this thing. Right there, I got stopped out, jerks. Actually, I closed it out here, but nonetheless. But in a weird sort of way, I like this so much. I was like, I want this on the books. So at the same time, too, I actually was running an Aave buy program versus Bitcoin on Trex. So I'm kind of glad. I mean, bot setup gets busted. Oh, well, so be it. This trading plan is actually feeling pretty good. So go figure. You can see 0.06, 0.007. So let's call it 0.0065. So that means actually I'll probably be selling half of this and getting my original money back at about what we'll say 0.13, somewhere in that area up there. So don't be surprised, if after this hour we find out that risk is coming back into the market, everybody's happy-go-lucky, stocks getting bid up, blah, 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 crypto rock and roll. Don't be surprised if this thing takes off here. And if you did want to join me on this, probably now, considering that FU low wasn't really for real, maybe work your stink bids down in, basically where I am long, right? Reload zone bids, any kind of pullbacks against these lows, you sneak in there and join me. It's up to you, whatever. I've told you all repeatedly, I don't care whether you buy or sell anything that I talk about here. I just don't care. I'm just trying to illustrate stuff to you, trying to show you, if you watch this channel consistently, you should see things like 50% rules and things like, W's and M's and divergences and fib levels and volume profile levels. I just keep showing you the same stuff over and over and over and over. Hopefully some of this stuff starts to sink in. So that's really the purpose of this. I have no interest whatsoever whether you buy or sell anything that I talk about in these videos. And I think you all know that. So, not really talking too specifically about levels here because, of course, we got the FOMC and all hell could break loose here over this next hour. You can see US dollars coming under a bit of pressure. Look at those bonds. Are they going to M out here? I tell you, man, this is what I think's actually going to derail the whole fucking MMT and this idea that money is free. Is that this interest rate cycle has reversed? We're now in a higher interest rate and rising interest rate environment, and I don't think the public really understands this. But we'll see. Only time will tell. And I really do expect the shit to hit the fan with regard to this come the fall. Not now, but in the fall, I got a funny feeling that this is actually going to bring an end to the stock market rally. But what the hell? We got the summer ahead of us. Right now, if anything, I'm thinking, sell in May, walk away. June's usually a kind of a soft month in the stock market anyway. So I wouldn't be surprised over the next couple months we do a bit of backfilling to clean up a lot of this overboughtness. Um, but I still think I'm thinking higher prices in through the summer. Yeah. Okay, so in essence, dead cat bounces have played themselves out in crypto. You might even argue dead cat bounces played themselves out in the small caps versus the big caps. Big caps awfully nosebleedy. It does oil really want to break out here? And then, sort of the final piece to that, if stocks don't fail, crypto continues to grind its way higher here. I can't see how either the gold or the bonds can hold in here, and these look kind of dangerous in here to me now. Probably the one thing that might derail a stock market rally in earnest, we have to keep an eye on it. The last signal that came in was a fail. So clearly shows that the market's not really respecting this right at the moment. But we want to keep a close eye on the Dow Jones Industrial Average versus the transports. So in this case, actually, the Dow Industrials are going sideways. Transports are moving to new highs. Markets to market's still a bull as far as I'm concerned. We did have the potential for breakdown here. You can see transports topped out. Well, the industrials went to new highs, and indeed we had to break. But we haven't seen that kind of price action in a while, eh? So, and the fact that the industrial or the transports continue to go to new highs leads me to believe that this market is probably not going to break anytime soon. So, anyway, just be cognizant of that. All right. Don't know whether that really helps too much. Being a Fed day, we still got about a half an hour until we can really believe anything that we see here. So let's keep an eye on it. You can see they're trying desperately to put some sort of bottom in stocks. I don't know whether I buy it or not. I do like the idea that crypto should be well bid here, especially with the way Ethereum is acting. And if anything, we want to see Ethereum lead. We want to see the money pouring into this space. I thought it was interesting, like even in my email this morning, I'm getting shilled out the ass from sites like Trex. Don't go and buy your stocks on the exchanges. Think cool Kelly Loeffler. Do we really want to give Kelly Loeffler our business? Or should we just go buy our stocks on the blockchain? And screw these centralized exchanges. Cool Kelly Loeffler, fucking, what do we call those people? There's a funny name, like the rich impose themselves into these political positions. That if anything, that probably might have been the high watermark, just like grab them by the pussy. I think was a high watermark, and literally those days are over. I might argue, cool Kelly Loeffler being injected into the U.S. political system without the populaces even asking, or even being asked whether she even deserved that Senate seat. I think that might have been a high watermark. And what a cool analogy from crypto that, in essence, the days are over of cool Kelly Loefflers and that crony capitalism. Fascinating times we live in here, folks. Fascinating. So you can see that crypto is coming into the stock market and eating their lunch hard here now. So put it all together. Like I said, still working through that first hour. Let's see some W's come in here. Let's see Mr. Powell come out and say, we don't care about high prices. We just want to dilute the currency more and inflate our way out of these old debt issues. That's what I think the theme of our lives are. As I said, these special interest SPACs and tax dodge vehicles are all getting bid up. So I think the market is believing this. The final piece here, of course, will be, let's see how we end the day here. We got about a half an hour to go before we can actually start inferring price action. But look what's happening here in crypto. You can see the bids are coming in here. So kind of cool to see. All right, rant. Sure hope you enjoyed that. I don't know whether I gave you any value today, but PMA for the win. All the best. Kevin, if you could take us out of here. The only thing left for TRI to say at this point is a big bye for now.